All right, let's jump right in. For basically all of human history, the tiny little machines that make life work have been completely invisible, just out of sight. But now, in just the last few years, two incredible technologies have popped up that are changing, well, everything. We finally have a way to see these machines and, get this, a way to start building our own.
To really get how big of a deal this is, we first have to wrap our heads around the world we're finally getting to see. I want you to think of a single living cell. It's not just some simple blob, right? It's more like a super tiny, crazy busy factory.
And inside that one factory, there are billions of these molecular machines. And they aren't just sitting there. No way. They are active, moving engines that do all the work of being alive. I mean, they build, they repair, they haul cargo, they power literally everything you do. It's a whole universe operating on a scale that's almost impossible to imagine. Okay, take a look at this little guy. This is kinesin. It's a real biological motor, and it literally walks step by step along these tiny little tracks inside your cells, carrying crucial supplies where they need to go. For centuries, we knew things like this had to exist, but we had no clue what they actually looked like or how they worked. It was all just guesswork.
All that guesswork, it's over. Everything is about to change. So the first part of this revolution is all about seeing, and our brand new pair of eyes is an AI called AlphaFold 3.
So, what on earth is it? Well, you can think of AlphaFold 3 as this incredibly smart AI that you can give a list of molecules to. Proteins, DNA, even the little molecules in medicines, and it will tell you with amazing accuracy how they fold up and click together in 3D space. It's basically generating the blueprints for all the machinery of life.
And this is why it's such a massive game changer. Figuring out the 3D shape of just one of these machines used to be a huge, huge project. Seriously, a scientist could spend their entire PhD on just one protein. It was slow, it was super expensive, and it was unbelievably hard.
But now, just look at the scale we're talking about. The earlier versions of this AI have already predicted the structures of over 200 million proteins, and they just gave that data away to scientists for free. That's an amount of work that would have taken, and I mean this literally, millions and millions of years of research.
And this slide, wow, this shows you just how good the AI has gotten. On the left, that's AlphaFold 3's prediction of how a protein latches onto a strand of DNA. And on the right, that's the real structure, the one that scientists figured out the long, hard way in a lab. Look at it. The match is pretty much perfect. The AI is seeing the molecular world as it actually is. It's incredible. And this chart really drives home that leap in performance. When you're trying to predict how different kinds of molecules fit together, which is absolutely crucial for designing new drugs, AlphaFold 3 is at least 50% better than anything that came before it. And for some of the most important interactions, it's actually doubled the accuracy. A huge jump.
Okay, so this brings us to the really big question. It's amazing to have the blueprints, right? But what if we could use that knowledge to become architects on a molecular level? What if we could start building too? Well, that brings us to the second breakthrough. This is where DNA origami comes into the picture. It's a technique that lets us build our own tiny machines, and we use the code of life itself as our construction material.
The whole idea is just brilliant. Instead of thinking about DNA as just this thing that carries genetic information, nanotechnologists started looking at it as a programmable building block. It's like they discovered the ultimate Lego set for making things that are almost unimaginably small. And the process itself is surprisingly elegant. So you start with one really long strand of DNA. Think of it like a long piece of yarn. Then you design hundreds of short little DNA strands on a computer. They're called staples. You mix them all together, and these staples are programmed to grab onto specific parts of that long yarn, folding it and pulling it into a super precise, custom 3D shape. And the best part? It all happens by itself.
So what can you build? Well, remember that kinesin motor from earlier, the one that walks around inside our cells? Well, this is a DNA robot built using origami, and it does something very similar. It's been designed to walk across the surface and actually sort different kinds of molecular cargo. So we're not just copying nature anymore. We're building our own functional machines inspired by it.
This is such a cool, direct comparison. On the left, you've got a natural motor, kinesin 5, which is essential for helping our cells divide. It works by sliding these cellular filaments apart. And on the right, that's the human-made version. Here, DNA strands guide tiny gold crystals to do the exact same thing, slide DNA filaments apart. It's a perfect mimic of that biological function.
So,
Let's put it all together. We can see and we can build. And when you combine these two brand new abilities, what you get are the foundations for a true scientific revolution.
This quote from Celine Bouchot really just nails it. These tools aren't just about crunching data and spitting out answers. They're about empowering scientists to get creative, to ask those really big, daring questions, and to speed up the whole cycle of discovery like never before.
So what does this future actually look like? Well, when you combine our power to see with our power to build, you're talking about speeding up the design of new medicines, creating smart nanobots that could deliver treatments right to a cancer cell, engineering crops that can survive a drought, and, maybe most importantly, just getting a much, much deeper understanding of how life actually works.
For the first time in history, we have the tools to both read the blueprints of life and start writing our own. The power we're unlocking is just unprecedented. So the only real question left is, what kind of world are we going to build with it?